This isn't your soft launch. This is the hard launch, where we talk about what it takes to build love, businesses, and everything in between.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's officially get started.
Thank you so much.
Michelle, welcome to the hard launch. I am so excited to have you here. We have talked a little bit offline. I've gotten to know a little bit of your story, and I can't wait to share it with our audience because truly you have such an interesting background. You've crossed between technology and event planning, and you've
Yeah.
kind of seen it all from all sides. So let's get into it. Are you ready?
I'm excited.
Awesome. So you launched Michelle Elaine Events in 2011, is that right?
Yes.
But before that, you trained under David Tutera and Robert Verdi, and the Tutera internship turned into a full-time offer based purely on your performance. What did those years teach you about the wedding industry in general that you don't think you could have learned in any other way?
Okay. So I think those were both like interesting and very different experiences. So I interned with David Tutera 2008. Oh my God. I'm like, I feel like I'm 25 still, but I'm really not. And I remember this was before he got his TV show. This was before he got, I forget what it's called now. Like, something about weddings, his wedding shows, whatever. This is before he got it, but he was still a big deal. Like, this was right after this, I feel like was like when he launched. Like he had done Star Jones's wedding and he like really had a big name for himself. And I was interested in event planning. If you go all the way back to my prom, I have like a checklist. I was like the one that took over like who's going in our limo? What are we doing for this? What time is this happening? What time is that happening? When are we taking pictures? And so through even my college years, people that I became friends with were like, you should probably get into event planning. Like, has anybody told you to do event planning? Because I was in school for fashion. And I was like, well, I really want to just like work for a fashion designer. And I just didn't think event planning. I don't know why I didn't have interest initially. So I was like, let me try this internship. And a friend in school at the time was like, "Oh, have you heard of David Tutera?" And I was like, "There's no way this guy is going to make time for me, like some random student at a college. Like, hi, can I intern?" And they were actually wonderful. They got back to me right away. I had to go in for an interview. I remember like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And the office was so beautiful, and I was just so overwhelmed. And I ended up I'm an intern. So you're not, people are like, wow. I'm like, no, he was nice. His team was nice, but you're an intern at the end of the day. So I still remember, oh my God, I'm aging myself so bad. This was when Ellen DeGeneres, why am I forgetting her name? This is when they got engaged.
Oh, yes. I'm also not remembering the name, but I know. I know.
Yes. So this was that long ago. And I learned, which I take today in my own business, which is crazy that it's like it takes so many years and different experiences to realize. But like he had obviously like a PR team to help him get him like addresses to certain people. So I remember he was like, "Oh my God, Ellen is engaged. We have to get that wedding. I need you." Like his team was like, "Here," gave me a list of like stuff, and then they were like, "Just pick out whatever you want." And like they have dogs and they have this and that. So I remember like going to a pet store and getting like a diamond dog collar and like fancy treats and like a couple of different things that they could put in a box to send to them as part, not just that, obviously flowers and other things were a part of it. But I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And then um just stuff like that constantly. And then, or otherwise, this is how I became really good at tying bows. They had like some event and they had an intern that they were like, "Oh, we put them in the gift wrapping room," and they left like crying. And I was like, "Oh, okay, great." They were like, "We need you in there all day today." And I was like, "Okay." And I apparently gift wrapped so well that they were like, "Oh, we can't lose this girl." And they like wanted me to stay and work for them and all of this, but it was my first internship. So I was like, I feel like I need more experience. And I didn't think I was going to get Robert Verdi either because this is back in the day. So fashion world, like Robert Verdi was like it. Like if you could get an internship with him, I felt like, oh, this is going to open the door to like maybe I could work at Vogue or anywhere really. And his internship was not hard in a sense of like what the tasks were, but basically, like, he said that I looked like Anne Hathaway, so he didn't call me by my name, and he called me Princess Diaries. So that was my nickname. Like, I will never forget that internship for the rest of my life.
Feel like that would
And
not fly today.
and he would, like, torment me, and he would go all the way into his office. Like, he would see me, but he would go all the way into his office, and then he would just yell, "Princess Diaries!" And, like, if I didn't come, like, the first time he called me, like, it would be a whole thing. And I was like, "Okay, great." But I knew so many of my friends were like, "Oh my god, this is, like, horrible, like, you should just leave." Like, there was one day he gave me, and of course, this is fashion, I'm in high heels every day, I had to do this after class, so I'm always dressed and ready to go. I showed up one day and he was like, "I need you to send that sewing machine internationally." And I'm like, it felt like he gave created tasks just to see if I would survive. And I'm like, "Okay, now I'm in huge heels with this sewing machine on, like, a cart through Manhattan. I have to, like, schlep it." I don't even remember how I got it up the stairs because there was this huge post office. I get in the post office and the guy's like, "How can I help you?" And I'm like, I can't go back. I can't go back to the office with this. Like, I need you to help me figure out how to ship this sewing machine to whatever the address was." He was like, "Okay," helped me figure it all out. But so many of my friends were like, "Oh my god, I would quit if I were you. Like, that sounds just like that's, like, embarrassing that you put up with that." Again, this is almost 20 years ago, so it was a very different world. And I was like, "I have to survive this because he's too connected. If I quit, like so many other girls have done, what if 5 years from now," and I will come to a first full circle moment. I'm like, "What if 5 years from now, like, he sees me with another company, or I'm representing another company, or my name comes across his desk for some reason. He's gonna know me as, like, the quitter, as, like, I couldn't handle it, I couldn't hack it." And I was like, the fashion world is so hard. I almost feel like he was just hazing me to see if I could make it in the fashion world and events, because he did events also. And so I ended up surviving it, and I left really nice handwritten notes on my last day to him and his assistant, who she was probably 10 times worse than him, with a nice gift because I was raised right. So I did all the proper things to end my internship. And then, like, 6 months later, I'm on the subway, and this tall guy with, like, this big furry hat is, like, over me, and I look up, and he was like, "Well, well, well, if it isn't Princess Diaries." And I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "I know you're so surprised to see me, Robert Verdi, on public transportation," whatever he said, because he always had, like, a private car that took him in the back at his building. And he was like, "I just have to say, like, thank you so much." Like, it, like, stayed with him that I gave a gift, that I did a handwritten note. He was like, "I actually can't believe, like, you're amazing. Like,
Wow.
if you ever," he was like, "if you ever need anything," which I've been saying this, I should just reach out to him. But he was like, "If you ever need anything, like, please, like, I'm always like, my door's always open," basically. Then, fast forward a little bit, I after the pandemic, which we'll come back to all of that, but after the pandemic, I started working for a tech startup. My first experience at a tech startup. We had a PR girl, and she was like, "Oh, does anybody know who Robert Verdi is? Like, I think I'm gonna bring this tech to him." And I was like, so I told her the whole story, and I was like, "Could you imagine? Like, you never know. What I've learned in life from a young age is you never know when anything is going to come back around. If something is really not for you, walk away from it. But, like, don't give up just because something is too challenging, because who knows?" Like, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell him about you and how you're working for this company." Like, he could have been like, "Oh, I want nothing to do with that company now," because you just never know.
You
Just
never
never
know.
know.
You truly never know. And I think that's such an important lesson because it's so easy to burn a bridge or feel like it's maybe not a right fit a little too early. But
Yeah.
you just never know how things can come around, and it's honestly, like, one of the reasons why I love being on this journey that I'm on, which is, like, more of an entrepreneur like, this entrepreneurial journey, which is building and all this stuff, because I wanna get to a point where I can, like, pay it forward, and, like, I
Yeah.
remember I clock every person who on this journey has been helpful or kind or
Yep.
understanding or just anything, right? Like, I very clearly can tell you who it's been or who's been supportive and who has not been, and it's such a clear
Mhm.
line, And like, eventually I want to be in a position where I could pay it forward to them, or I can pay it forward to somebody who I feel is in need and I know how that feels. So it is truly, you never know. You just truly never know who you're
Wow.
dealing with and where that person could be. I've been written off and I know how that feels. And like, then I'm like, just wait, just give me like 5, 10 years
Yeah.
and like, just you wait that you're going to be thinking back to like, dang it, I shouldn't have like, been like that or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think it's
No,
so
it's
smart that you did that.
yeah, it just and it's again, like when I tell this story, like if I was telling like a 20-year-old today, they would be like, "Oh, like horrified." Which yes, and I'm not saying that it was okay the way I was treated, but it was the time that it was, and it wasn't like there was there was another day, and then we can move on, but there was another day, I don't know what this project was. Again, I'm in high heels, and I am this is so like I said, I lived The Devil Wears Prada, and he's in that movie, the first time around at least.
Truly, I feel like you did.
Um, I came in, to have high heels, and he was doing some project where he was hand delivering buttons to different celebrities, like apartments and townhomes. I spent the entire day, it was I don't even know how many hours, like 6, 7 hours, whatever it was, like, going around Manhattan in heels, just delivering buttons to people's apartments. Like, I went to Madonna's townhome, didn't see
No.
her. I saw, like, her assistant, and they're like, "Who are you?" with, like, 17 different gates to have to get there, and I was like, "I have a delivery from Robert Verdi," and they were like, "Okay, no problem," like, put it through whatever, and then I'm like, "Okay, moving to the next thing." Like, it was my Devil Wears Prada moment. Like, I was like, "This will pay off, and if anything, I will learn a lesson." Because where I'm at now in my business, I'm like, I need a PR person that can help me with getting in front of some of these people so that I can put boxes together for them to like get these like private dinners or brand launches or any kind of event that these different designers, brands, companies, influencers are doing because I've been expanding beyond weddings. So it's a experience from nearly 20 years ago that I now have today. So that's also part of it too.
That
But
is
yeah,
huge. How
crazy,
did you
crazy stories.
Yes. I mean, truly you've lived Wears Prada, like, you've lived the movie. How did you get those internships? You said that, like, you thought you would never get them, but how did you, like, actually get them? Because I feel like there's a
Okay.
thread through here on how you
Yeah.
operate now, which we'll get to. So how did
Yeah.
you get those?
So David Tutera, I just shot my shot and they thankfully got back to me. Because some internships, so I went to LIM College in Manhattan, and a lot of the internships you could get through like the whatever office it was that you had to go through for internships. But if they didn't have somebody on their list and they weren't doing events at the time, so they were like, we don't have a contact for David Tutera. Like, if you want that internship, you have to get it yourself. From David Tutera is how I got Robert Verdi. So Robert Verdi, I'm pretty sure I got like through LIM, but the only reason that they said they had interest to meet with me was because of my experience with David Tutera. So shooting your shot, just shoot your shot because you never know
I
what's going
feel
to
like that's
happen.
something you
And
do very well.
I this is what I've
Yes.
been doing, and not that it paid well, but Henry Bendel, it doesn't exist anymore either. I'm aging myself again. Henry Bendel, the only reason they contacted me for an interview, and I graduated in 2009 when the whole world was burning to the ground and they weren't hiring anybody, let alone in fashion world. The only reason they called me was because I interned with Robert Verdi. So I was like, had I given up on Robert Verdi, I don't know if I would have gotten a job like that to get me into the fashion work, to get me into the jobs for fashion. So, yeah, just shoot your shot and don't give up.
Shoot your shot, and I think also just be so strategic about the steps that you're taking, and like, you had an end goal in mind and you were like, I'm going to take whatever steps I need to take to get there, and like, you were just stepping it up. And I think that is so important because there is a time where you maybe have to take a job that's less glamorous and maybe you're not
Yeah,
excited about some of the things you're doing,
yeah,
or you're not getting paid what you should be paying or think you should be getting. But I feel like now in today's generation, like, people are graduating school or graduating university and like, they're like, I need to be getting this amount and treated this way and like doing this type of job. And like,
I did the same thing too, though. Like I did, and then you're humbled quickly. Like,
you're
oh
humbled
well.
quickly. And honestly, like, now being in in sort of the startup world for myself too, like, I see these people who are like, oh, but I'm gonna need to like have X, Y, and Z in order to come on board. And I understand like needing to obviously like have, living expenses and like there are things that need to get covered.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying you sometimes need to start lower than you think you need to be starting because you will get such invaluable experience and such invaluable connections and just reputation that's beginning to build that you couldn't have gotten otherwise. So I think you did
Yes.
that so well. Before all that we just talked about, which is launching Michelle Elaine Events and getting these internships, you were the number one salesperson at Masterpiece Caterers, and you worked events and in
God,
across
yeah.
sort of a diverse category of events, the New York Marathon, the Heisman Trophy Awards. Looking back at that, do you see catering as the place where you may have like actually started to truly learn the ins and outs of events?
Yes. Okay. So, Masterpiece Caterers. Okay. Again, lovely because they basically did my wedding when I got married almost 10 years ago. They pretty much did it for free, as they should, because I worked ridiculous. Like, I can't, this was so long ago, so I can be so transparent and share this, but I worked probably 100 hours a week. We sometimes used to sleep in the office because we had too many events that it didn't make sense going home, and I got paid $30,000 a year.
No.
Isn't that insane? Like, I don't even understand why or how I did that, but
And
I
how long were you doing that for? How long were you there for?
I I wanna say it was, like, I think I barely made 2 years, maybe? I can't
Mm.
remember because I was working so many. It was, like, the first job. It was the first time where I had a job that I didn't have time to have multiple jobs. Because when I worked for Henry Bendel, I freelanced and, like, I worked for these other event planners. Like, I had, like, 3 or 4 different odd and end jobs going on because Henry Bendel was only part-time. Because again, like, nobody like, Masterpiece Caterers, well, they were at the time, they were called Pasha Events, and back in the day, there was a club, there was a cool nightclub called Pasha, so people used to think that they were like, "Wow, you work for Pasha?" And I'm like, "No, I work for some, like, random catering company
Wait,
that's,
I
like"
think I know Pasha. Wasn't it a Russian nightclub?
something like that, but it was,
Eastern
like,
European? Yes, yes.
it was, like, bougie and cool, and, like, I would tell people because we would always say, "Oh, yeah, I work for Pasha Catering," but people would only hear Pasha, and they were like, and I'm like, "No, no, 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 you got it all wrong." But the 2 owners, they came from a background where they worked at, like, the Plaza and the Waldorf and, like, had all this experience, so they came together, started their own catering company, and then I got that job through an event planning internship that I had in your senior year at LAM College. This might be different now that this is current day, but you had to do a senior co-op. So basically, you had to intern full time Monday through Thursday, and then you went to class on Friday. You did not get paid. That was part of that was like your school. Like you intern full time so that you understand what like the real world is going to be. So again, I was in a situation now I fell in love with event planning. So I was in a situation where I had to go find an internship on my own. So I interned for this company called Cool Events, Cool with a K. I originally thought like, "Oh my god, like what?" Or I think they got mine. However, we got connected. And I was like, "Oh, this is scary." The lady's name was Amy Cool. Like that was her last name. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." So they were like my New York City moms for a while because they like guided me. They taught me like proper etiquette for sitting at a table. You have to use your butter knife, like, do not use your butter knife for anything else. I went to dinners, lunches at all the top places in the city because they were event planners, so they got invited to all these
Wow.
things all the time, and they were the ones that helped me. I remember I'm working all these odd end jobs. I'm working for them. Like I graduate, and now I'm graduated. I'm part time at Henry Bendel. I'm freelancing for them. I did like this night job where it was like these middle aged dads that did like cover songs. So I worked for them doing stuff also. So Amy Cool was like, Michelle, this catering company, they need a catering sales manager. This could be like a great job for you to like get you in the industry. And I'm like, yay. So I go, I interview even though they were gonna hire me anyway because they just needed cheap people that were willing to work, and it was like a crash course in literally how to do everything back of house. So, yeah, like, I also have sometimes, like, I will have to tell like, if it's a caterer that I've never worked with before, I always let them know that, like, I have back of house experience, so then they're like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." I'm like, "I fully get what happens back there, so I'm not gonna create an issue out here that will give you an issue back there, because we used to have to work with planners, and they would come in the kitchen, and they would be crazy. They would ask, crazy questions, or they would move the timeline without us knowing, like, "Oh, you guys need to start serving main course." And I'm like, "You cannot walk into this kitchen and just demand that main course goes out." And the chef's, like, yelling, and I'm like, so that has definitely helped me in when I started my company and
Interesting.
continuing on.
Is
Yeah.
that when you kind of knew that that was what you wanted to do? Events was something that you were interested in?
Yes,
Yeah.
and specifically weddings, because nobody wanted to deal with brides. Like, their whole goal was, like, the New York City Marathon, the Heisman Trophy, like, all those big corporate things that bring in lots of money. And we were exclusive at the Riverside Church on the Upper West Side, and so we would get brides all the time, and everyone was like, "Ugh, like, I can't." And I just love a bride. I don't know, she's like, they're difficult. Let me not just say, like, "Oh, our job's so easy," but, like, I don't know, you're, like, happy, you're getting married, you want cute, pretty stuff, and I don't know, I grew up in, like, uh, chaotic uncertainty every day in my childhood, so I almost feel like the reason I thrive in weddings is because it's so insane, and I can, like, deal with their insanity is like nothing compared to, like, the craziness I grew up with. So
Hmm.
it's almost like that it's probably not normal, but, like, I can thrive in, like, a chaotic environment probably better because it's, like, what I'm used to.
That is so interesting. Was there anything when you were growing up that was a signal to you that like creative something creative was what you were going to end up doing for your profession? Like was that kind of a thread throughout your childhood and or even maybe an outlet given what you shared?
Oh, yeah, for sure, and I was always creative, whether it was, like, drawing, any kind of art, but I specifically, once I started getting older, like, styling and putting outfits together. Like, friends would pick on me, like, I dated this guy once that was like, we're literally just going to the grocery store to get beer and chips, and I would have, like, a full-on outfit, accessories, everything, and I would be like, "Okay, well, like, this is I need to do this so that I can feel like myself, like, I can't walk out of here." Today's a little different, like, when I go to school pickup and drop off, it's, like, questionable what I'm wearing, but different life,
Different
but yeah,
life.
that for sure, and that's where I was like, "Oh, I think my outlet is, like." I originally thought I was gonna do fashion design because I love putting outfits together, but really I just have, like, a good eye for, like, design and style and putting stuff together because I cannot draw or sew, so.
That is so fascinating. I mean, there's a lot of overlaps, whether it's fashion or events. It's just the general design eye that like you have to have in these creative industries. Take us back to 2020. Weddings were on pause and you had just become a mother. You
Yeah.
had your baby. And instead of going back to planning when things reopen, you actually went headfirst into a tech startup and it was a VR tech startup, and you were one of the core team members. So, take us back to the moment that you decided that that was going to be what you were going to do during that time.
Okay. So, and hopefully I don't cry because I just never know when it's gonna happen. And I think sometimes we have mom guilt because it's like when and I was so thankful to be pregnant. I was so thankful to have him, but then, like, my whole entire world was different. I felt like I was forced. And the pandemic or not, I mean, who knows? I can only speak from my experience with the pandemic, but like, all of my word of mouth cut off because the second my clients were like, they were like, "We're trying to push you to our friends and our colleagues," but the second they would hear what they paid for me, they were like, "Oh, no." Like, that was a time where I mean, people still today are like this, but, like, in 2021, people were, like, really holding on to their money and didn't want they were eloping or just, like, doing very easy, quick things and then maybe having a bigger party later, but, like, planning it themselves or getting, like, a cheaper planner because what was happening was a lot of people were starting businesses and taking advantage. And listen, you know what? It is what it is. To each their own. You saw an opportunity. I'm not gonna, discredit anybody for doing that, but a brand new planner in 2020 could probably do something for 5 or 10K when somebody like me needs like 50 to 75 or 100K for something. So people out there like figuring out what they like, where they're going to spend their money. And I was definitely not their first choice given the budget. And then I had one wedding in 2022. It was the fourth daughter. It was a legacy client. I had done the three other daughters. This was their last daughter. No more daughters left. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Like, I have no idea what to do. And my husband works for the Metropolitan Opera. He was back at work. He was like, listen, just maybe take a year off and just like enjoy time with Nolan. Because literally, he was born, like I had him. And like like they moved me to my room. I don't even remember sleeping or what, and I was, like, doing, like, catering contracts because he was born December 2020, all my weddings got moved to 21, and this was not normal times, like, people were like, "That's crazy. Why were you doing work, like, after you delivered your baby?" And I'm like, "I didn't have a choice because I couldn't pay for staff 'cause we lost a whole year of making money." Um and I had to take care of my business. Like that's true entrepreneurial to at its core. Like you still have to do what you have to do at the end of the day. There's nobody there that's going to come and save you. So anyway, I 2022, I'm thinking, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And so I didn't want to take the year off even though I had, didn't have any time, but I was like, I don't want to take a year off because I feel like then I'm just going to become like irrelevant. And people are going to be like, where did Michelle go? And with social media and everything, and maybe there is a bit of a stigma like becoming a mom. I'm like, I feel like people are just going to be like, oh, she just became a mom and it's just like doing whatever now. So I said, I have to make money. What's going to make me the most money? And I assumed tech startups would be where money would be. So I applied to probably 50 to 60 jobs. And the cutest little responses for the companies that bothered responding were just like, oh, wedding planner is like not exactly who we're looking for. And I'm like, I am an entrepreneur. Like, do you not know? And forget entrepreneur. Do you not know? Like, I am a therapist, I am a psychologist, I am a magician, I am like this stuff that wedding planners have to do. Like, I am like an emotional crisis communicator. Like, there's so many things that I can do for your company. So then I just started giving up. Didn't know like I was like, I don't know, like, literally, what are we going to do? We contemplated moving back home because I was like, we can't, like, you can't afford, like, I have student loans, like, we don't live in a world where, like, like, I could just not work for a year. A photographer friend of mine was like, oh, hey, there's this VR tech startup. It's in hospitality. If you want me to, like, pass your name on. I was like, sure. Like, this is just going to be another dead end where they're like, oh, cute, wedding planner. But they ended up getting back to me, like, immediately, set up an interview. I met with the team that was there at the time. And it wasn't really an interview, it was just like a meeting. And they were like asking me about venues I was connected to and different people that I know. And I just answered their questions. And then at the end of everything, I was like, so what do you want? What do you want me for? Oh, we would just want you to like get the product out there. I'm like, okay. So I came home and my husband's like, how did it go? And I'm like, good. And he was like, are you hired? I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, what's the job? I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, what did they offer to pay you? I'm like, they didn't offer me anything. And he's like, so long story short, I go on board, but now I am dealing with childcare because Nolan, we didn't need childcare because he was home with me. So that was the next hurdle to get over was like hiring a nanny or putting him in daycare. What do I want to do? How expensive it is, all the things. And I went through a lot of just like, how do I fit in here? Because I already had this negative in my head from these 60 other startups that were like, you, who do you think you are in tech? So I'm tiptoeing around, like assuming I'm like the idiot on the team and that everybody's smarter than me, which is don't ever go into
Don't
a
ever
situation.
assume that.
Don't do that. Don't do what I did because I was the last woman standing. So we got to a point where the company was running out of money. Everybody got laid off except for me. And the CEO was like, "I can't run this company without you." So there's that's that. And so then I came home and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like I didn't have equity. First timer lesson. I should have gotten equity from the beginning, but I didn't know what I was doing. It's fine. So I asked my small business lawyer to set me up with a startup lawyer. He, based on everything I told him, he was like, "I would just quit. This sounds like this thing is going down and it's not good." And I was like, as a side note, my husband got hurt at work. So now, and he had spinal surgery. So I'm like stuck now because I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh.
I'm talking to everyone in the industry. I have all these connections, all these like new connections in the industry with because I'm selling this product to planners and venues and all these people that I never worked with before. And I'm getting all this feedback from everybody like, "Oh, events are still like in the drain. This wouldn't be a good time to like come back. Like you're so smart to be in tech." And I'm like, "Great, I'm trying to quit because the company's running out of money. I'm the only one working." Uh, just a whole disaster, really. And then basically I mean, I built and ran the whole entire company, and I just got to a point where I was just coming in like, I was miserable. I felt like I just was, like, living to serve everybody else. I was like, "Okay, so I'm working this job to help this CEO because my he still never gave me equity, like, refused. It was a whole thing. I said, "Okay, so I'm running this guy's entire company for him that I also built for him, and I'm not getting paid well at all. But I need to pay bills. I need to take care of my family at home because my husband's out of work because he's injured. We have a child that we have to take care of, who I have to take care of when I get home." Like I was miserable. Like it was 2024, I think was like the worst year of like my entire life. And then 2025, I was like, I made a plan. I was like, I have to get out of here. Like whatever it is, I don't even care what I have to do. Like I was trying to post on TikTok and like be an
Wow.
influencer. I'm like, I will do anything. Like I don't know what I have to do. I just like I have to get out of here. And then I was like upset because I believed in the technology so much, but it was just the wrong leadership. And then I felt like, "Oh, I wasted all these 3 years building this company. I could have built this myself." Like, it was just there was a lot of different it was just a journey. A lot of positives because I learned a lot and I really expanded my network. And I also, like, got courage again. Like, I was just shooting my shot everywhere, and if somebody was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you suck," I was like, whatever, I don't care." Like, I didn't care, which now back in my own company, that's how I got Haley Page because I was like, "I'm just shooting my shot. Like, if she says no, what am I gonna do? Like, I could die tomorrow. Like, if I don't ask, if I don't go out, put myself out there, how am I ever gonna know the answer to anything?"
I think the fact that you successfully made that jump, and even though it worked out not great and didn't end the way you probably would have wanted it to, or anyone would have wanted it to, but the fact that you made that jump and made that transition after 60 no's and you kept going and you kept knocking down doors. And I feel like, again, that's why I asked you the question in the beginning, like, how did you get those internships? Because it's something that you think you do really well. And it's something that anyone that is trying to like make pivots in their careers, which so many of us are doing nowadays, or start something new or build something, like you have to be so just ruthless in how you get after it and like
Yeah.
just make the ask, like go in and make the
Yeah,
ask, because the worst thing that's going to happen is no. And yeah, maybe you'll get 60 no's, but like the 61st time you go after it, like that could be a yes. What was the
exactly.
steepest learning curve as you were in that first journey with that startup? What was the steepest learning curve that you were like, wow, I like really need to kind of learn more than maybe I would have if I had this background or experience working in tech?
I think, to be honest, the number one the deepest lesson that I had was that women need to ask for what they're worth. It was the first time because I
Yes.
had worked for myself. So I had went from like I'd always worked for women or like women-owned companies or the fashion world, which is inherently like female driven. And it was the first time where I had like a male CEO and I like found out that like there was a guy, we had a sales guy, he literally just like walked in off the street and was getting paid like 10K more than me just because he was a guy. And I was like, this is actually insane. Like, and I, things happened that they all got laid off at the end of the day, but and I remember like confronting the CEO about it. I remember having an argument with him about it. This is part of why I wanted to leave. And then my husband got hurt. But even, like, when everybody got laid off, because I remember my husband being like, "If he laid everybody off and he's like, 'I can't run this business without you,' like, he should be paying me more." And I did, I tried, but I feel like the respect was lost, like, it was what it was. I can say whatever I wanna say now, but it's almost like the second I knew that that guy was getting paid more than me, I should have just quit. I should have just confronted him and then quit. But the fact that I confronted him, he didn't continue to not pay me more and continue to pay because that guy was still with us. The fact that that continued and I chose to stay, he didn't have any respect for me then. He's like, "This girl's just gonna take it because she needs this job," and I didn't realize all the leverage I had. Like, I was running that whole company. I was the only one bringing the sales and partnerships. I was the only one bringing anything in, and I didn't realize my value, and I don't know what it was, but just there was one day I was like, "F this," and I just walked in and quit, and I was like, "I am done." It was May last year, and I remember the CEO was, like, enraged. She was like, "I cannot believe you're doing this to me right now, like, it's just the 2 of us. Like, I said, "I'm done." Like, and if you don't understand why I'm done, then you need to seek therapy. Like, this is out of control. Like, it was like I had always heard these stories of like, "Oh, women are underpaid." And I was like, "I know nothing about this because I work for myself and my clients pay me without an issue." Well, after a lot of years of building, but it was the first time. Yeah. So that was probably the biggest thing of like, know your worth, ask for what you need to ask for, stand up for yourself. It is hard. I'm still working on it, but yeah, that's something I pay a lot more attention to now.
How did you feel in that moment when you walked out and you knew that you were done with that chapter, but did you have a plan for what you were gonna do next? And what was the general feeling in that moment, kind of taking the leap out of something that you wanted so badly, right? Like, you really wanted that transition and pivot in your career, but now you're walking away from it. So how are you feeling, and was there a plan for what was next?
Yes. So there was a plan that didn't go through because tech startups I learned are very risky. Um, I felt liberated because it was the first time in my entire life that I actually stood up for myself. Like anytime like a friend would wrong me, like anytime somebody's done something wrong to me, I kind of just like disappear from their life. Like fight or flight, I'm just flight. Like I don't even bother. I move on and then like if they come to me they're like, "We don't talk anymore. What happened?" I'm just kind of like, that we're done, like, we're not friends anymore. Like, this was, like, the first time and I remember so many people giving me pressure, like, "Stand up for yourself." Like, "Don't just say, 'Oh, I'm quitting. This was a good ride.'" Like, you need to, like, lay in on why you're leaving. So I felt, like, so good. And the other part of it that was a little stressful was that I had a plan. So there was another tech startup that a friend of mine connected me to, and in like the we had chatted so many times. I spoke with the CEO. We had like 6 different calls, which I should have seen as a red flag because why are we having 6 calls? But I was so just like I was kind of okay with like having a break. Like he had told me like, "Okay, I think we're going to probably move forward with you, but you wouldn't start until August." And I was like, "This is perfect. Like I just quit this other company in May. I get my summer with Nolan. Like then I have this now. I know this job is coming in August. Like, this is great." And then in like the final hour, if you will, he's like, "Oh, an investor fell through. Can you work for free on commission only?" And I was like, "Why is this my life?" So I said yes, which everybody's always like, "Ah," and I'm like, listen, he was doing the same thing at the time. It was VR, filming weddings and events in VR. The first company that I worked for, it was venue tours in VR. This was weddings and events in VR, which I thought made sense as like the first step. Then go to like the venues and do venue tours and they can use it as a sales tool. So I thought, okay, maybe I found a guy that's like doing it the right way. So I said, "Okay, if I can sell your product, I don't work for you. Like there's no set hours. Like I could just be selling this and making commission. I feel like this I could do. And this would be easy. I don't have to go to an office, nothing." So I tried it for like a couple weeks and it didn't work out. And they also completely pivoted what they were doing. So the CEO was like, "Oh, so just so you know, we're not we're selling the VR secondarily." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "We're basically they were building like, Dropbox or like Google Images, but like better." And I'm like, "Ugh." So I gave it a whirl and it just didn't work. And then I started getting contacted to freelance because I was out there hustling with like the luxury planners to be like, "Can I freelance for you so that I could bring money in?" So I started getting opportunities like that and I was like, "You know what? I think like this just isn't it. And something is going to come and I am just going to keep putting it out into the universe that there's going to be a founder that's gonna be legit and gonna be filming wedding and events in VR, like, I know there's other people because I had a couple of small companies contact me, but not like it would just be, like, 2 guys with a camera, and I'm like, "No, no, no, not doing that again." So, my friend Phil, who's a photographer, lovely, adore him because he's been such a support. He connected me to Zvi from Relume, who was on your podcast
Yes, he
also.
was. We love Zvi.
And I was like, "Oh god." He was like, "No, Michelle, I'm telling you, he's the real deal. He's working with, like, the top planners." And I was like, "Is he really though?" Like, because we used to say that we were working with top planners and we weren't. Like, we just had them sign an agreement for name and likeness. He's like, "No, no, Michelle, like, he's working with, like, the Plaza and all these people." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So we set up a quick video call, and then I met with him in person, and I saw the product, which was actually better than the company I was working from before. Like, it's just the clarity is clear, like, it's just better. And I was like, "Do you need somebody to consult for you? Because this is, like, my perfect scenario where, like, I've had already booked a wedding too, so I have a wedding this year in August. I'm like, I'm getting back into events, and I can consult for you, and I'm in the industry. I can help you spread awareness for your product. Everybody already knows me now linked to VR, and this is like a no-brainer for me to like come on board and just like get you out in front of the industry." And then so I've been consulting for them since January and I love them. They're like, I guess it's like third time's a charm type of
That's
thing because they're
amazing.
technically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Zvi's amazing, the product's amazing, and shout out to Zvi and Relume, and he
Yes,
has been on
yes,
this
shout
podcast,
out.
and truly, I think what they're doing is really, really amazing, especially in the wedding and events industry, and his story is so
Yeah.
cool, and it's just authentic and genuinely wanting to help the industry. I'm actually curious, since you've had experience on the tech side and the planner side, and you've seen it sort of from both sides of the table, it's not a secret that, this industry is sort of slower to adopt technology. Innovation has
Yes.
not been at the same rate in this industry as it has been in some others. Why do you think that it's that it's slower? Is it the professionals in the industry, like the planners, the venues, the consumers, all of it in combination? Like, what do you think that it is that makes it feel slower in this industry than in others?
So I think that it's going to take the consumer to, I think they're gonna be wanting it first, and that's gonna be what ends up pushing it. You're gonna have, like, the handful of, like, forward-thinking, like, early adopter planners and venues that just, like, get it. Like, I'm like, "No, I need to be a part of this because I in the next 5 years, everyone has a headset in their house." Like, I feel like I can almost guarantee that. But not everybody thinks that way. I think also we are such, like, a connected industry, so, like, I go to probably once now that the warm weather has started, because last year, when I quit that first tech company, and I was probably going to, like, 1 to 2 industry events a week, which means
Wow.
just, like, it's people from the industry just get together, it's, like, cocktails, food, whatever it is, and everybody just kind of hangs out, you're experiencing a new venue or new vendors or whatever the case is, and everybody's just very, like, face to face, like, this is how we've all built our companies, like, everything is about connection and in person, and so I think, like, the thought of VR, I think people initially think, like, "Oh, a video game," or they think of, like, Meta during the pandemic when, like, people were, like, fake people in like people would put headsets on and you'd be like a little, I can't think of the word, like a little cartoon person in a meeting and they'd have these like, and I'm like, no, this is like, you're literally just getting the opportunity to like, if you look at it for recording a wedding or an event, you get to just relive, like you get to step back in a moment that is like, that's insane. Like that's a gift. Like videography is absolutely incredible. I wouldn't say like, oh, don't do videography, but videography is like your curated trailer to like the movie that was your wedding. And then the VR is your raw content. So you're seeing like this little kid that's doing this during the ceremony. You're seeing these people talking. You're seeing like something funny happen. You're like back in that moment, like sitting with those people. And I think it also freaks people out too because they're like, oh, that's like too advanced. Like, are we there yet that I should be
Yeah.
like sitting in the room with like my mom or my uncle or whatever? And I'm like, no, like I get that and it's again like that separation of like, oh, well, if I have my family in a headset, I'm never going to go see them again. I'm like, no, this is just like a time capsule. Like I watch my wedding video every year. We pull out our album every year. Like I know I'm not the only one. Yes, I plan weddings, but I know I'm not the only one that does that. And there's going to be people that take their headset out every year and think like 10, 20 years from now, you're back there at your wedding. Like that's crazy. But I think because I get excited about it, and I think it's just sometimes it's, like, too much where people then just get afraid of it, and they're like, "Oh, this is too much." But I do have to admit, that first tech startup, I remember when they put a headset on me, and they took me to a wedding that they filmed in Israel, and I was like, "This is so freaky, like, do I have to keep this headset on?" And they were like, "Well, we need you to experience it so you know how to, like, pitch it to venues and stuff," and I initially was afraid and thought, like, "Is this too high tech? Like, are we" and then, like, it only took so long for me to be like, "Oh, no, this is definitely the future," and this isn't like a robot that's taking our jobs, like, it's just a deeper way to, like, encapsulate memories that you can
Yeah.
have forever.
And I don't think that that
But it's
sentiment I don't think that sentiment is, like, only in VR. I think, like, as people think about AI and
yes,
think about, like,
yes,
just the advancement of technology, I think
yes,
there's this, like, feeling of, like, "Oh, no." Like, what is it
yeah,
gonna do for our future? What does that mean for our livelihood, our jobs, our just day to
yes,
day? And I think there's this, like, just hesitation overall, and I think that hits the nail on the head, like, why things may be moving a little bit slower in this industry is because there's this, like, innate fear of not knowing and the unknowingness of
yeah,
it,
yeah,
um, but it doesn't take too long before you see the magic, and then you're like, "Oh my god," but, like, how it will look back 5 years from now and be like, "How do we live without that?" Like, how were weddings
right,
not captured in VR, or how was AI not a part of how we conduct our businesses and how we manage our customers? So, um,
exactly.
tech founders are constantly pitching planners. You probably know this yourself.
Yes.
Um, they're always pitching to people in this industry and the pros in this industry. What do you think, like from your seat, and this is kind of like put your planner hat on, like from your seat, what do you think that they're getting wrong? What feels
Ooh, yes,
not
I can answer
like
this.
the right pitch when they pitch you?
So I think, and this is something that I tell anybody and everybody about our industry. So I feel like the event industry is just very unique. I think it's one of a kind. I don't think there's anything out there that is like the event industry. And it's like you have to be friends first and sell second, and it's very hard for people to comprehend that.
Mhm.
And then they also think like, "Is this a waste of my time?" And I'm like, "Well, the second you think like, if you're having a conversation with me and you feel like it's a waste of time talking to me, like, you can't like, you have no idea like, we're all connected." So even if the other thing that people don't realize is, like, I only have 1 wedding in August. Okay, I don't have a full calendar, I'm rebuilding, whatever. The amount of planners that I am friends with that I know, if you have like an awesome product and I'm like, wow, I will go tell all of them. And if they have, it doesn't even matter. I could tell 50 planners that have 1 wedding also. And that's 50 clients that you were never gonna get in front of. And you know what, to be honest, not just planners, well, no, not us, because 'cause we're not pitching ourselves, but, like, vendors in the industry, not all of them, but a lot of us, we talk all the time about, like, photographers, rental companies, stationery artists, illustrators, like, people will come to us and they're like, "Hi, so, like, what's happening with your calendar this year?" And I'm like, "Hi, how are you? Like, who are you?" Like, it's you have to actually be genuine, like, you have to actually want to get to know me as a human, 'cause we can all sniff it out when we know when you just are talking to us because you wanna get something from us. If you are like, because 'cause I've gotten so many emails, I forgot who the company is now to shout them out, but, like, they would just send me, like, an email twice a year, just like, "Hey, how's it going? I see you're doing, like, amazing on social media. I saw you posted this. It really resonated with me. Like, thank you for sharing that." Done, that's it, and I'm like, "Who is this person?" And they kept doing that, like, just twice a
Mm.
year, and then I was like, I didn't have anything because I was working for that tech company, but then there was something that came up, and I, like, passed them to, like, a bunch of planners. I was like, "This person keeps contacting me, and they seem genuine, and their product seems decent, and I think, like, people should give them the time of day." And then they reached out to me, and they were like, "Oh my god, I had this XYZ planners reaching out to me, like, thank you so much." And I'm like, "Well, you seem like you actually cared, and even if you didn't care, you at least, like, put it like, you put in the effort to not email me and say, 'Hi, I would love to work together. I would love to give you a complimentary photo shoot.'" Whatever. No, like,
I think that
no,
is
like,
it's such an important lesson because it is so unique to this industry, like,
yeah,
specifically, truly. It's the build relationships first and then maybe sell second if you have a product that you're building, but I think where that it becomes hard for founders to kind of wrap their minds around is because it is so it does so much go against what like the investors milestones are. Like this is a slower
yeah,
moving industry. You do have to build relationships and that takes time.
yeah,
So that then means that like your milestones as a company may be a little bit longer, like you may need a little more runway to hit certain traction milestones that like investors who don't understand this industry from the
yeah,
inside out will not get. And I mean, I've come up against that. Like I'm sure every founder who's building, tech in this space can probably resonate with. It is truly so different. And I think that's
yeah,
what makes building tech in this industry challenging. And maybe also one of the reasons why tech has not been as advanced in this industry because it's harder to
right.
kind of like withstand that longer lead time or like longer sales cycles because you're building those
Yeah,
relationships and then you actually have to like figure out a way to have capital to like support that. So I think it all kind of feeds into one another and sort of like why industry hasn't seen as fast of
yeah,
innovation and like why what is so unique and what some founders may not understand if they don't have a background in this vertical. Yeah, it's interesting to hear you talk about that because it resonates so much with me too. I want to touch, I know we're at the top of the hour, but I want to touch a little bit about your comeback. You just had a huge comeback with the Haley Page show, which you talked about a little bit, but I really want to give it the attention that it deserves. It was a show, it was an event for her show at the New York Bridal Fashion Week. The comeback was a collection from this designer who'd spent kind of several years reclaiming her own name. And
yeah,
so tell me about, and again, this is another point of why I asked you throughout this past hour, like, how did you get the internship? How did you get this? How did you get that?
yes, yes,
You also got this Haley Page event by just reaching out and shooting your shot, which I think is so amazing. Because that's a pretty, like, someone may have said, like, she's not going to give me the time of day. She's not going
right.
to pay attention to me. Like, that's a pretty big shot to shoot. I'm never going to get it. But you did. And tell me about how it went. Like, what was the process from like outreach to day of? Yeah, I want to know all about it.
Okay, so I'm a little bit of a psycho, but I think this is what needs to happen. So I quit that job in May, okay, and now that second startup now fell through, it doesn't work out. So I'm like, okay, Michelle, like you got like how no one's coming to save you. You need to get clients. How are you going to get clients? And I was getting like flooded from like all my friends in the industry of like, okay, you're back now. Like, are you doing weddings? How many weddings are you having? Or how are you selling yourself? Advertise. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So I'm like, I loved all of it because it got me to realize like, okay, the first 10, 11 years of my company was just like head down, build, 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 trying to increase my prices, get as many clients as possible, build a reputation, a trustworthy reputation. I was like, now I'm in like the driver's seat where like I can do whatever I want. So like if I could sit and think like who is my dream client? If I want to do an event for this person, like who is that? And I was like, it would definitely be Haley Page, but I'm like, that's actually insane. Like there's no way she's gonna say yes. But like what? Who knows? So in September last year, I got invited. She had a preview at Kleinfeld's. I had like three other events to go to that day. I had an event like right before that I literally only stayed at this event for 7 minutes because I wanted to at least show my face for them because I loved the person that was hosting the event. And I was like, I have to get to Haley Page. Like, because people kept stopping me. Where are you going? I was like, I have to get to Haley Page. And everyone was like, okay, this girl's on a mission. I was like, I need to meet her in person. Like, this is my opportunity to meet her in person because sending an email or even sending like a gift, like it's very different seeing somebody in person. So I was like getting myself all like, okay, I have to go, I have to talk to her, I have to say hi to her at the very least. She is probably like one of the nicest humans that I've ever met in my whole entire life. Like I didn't need to hype myself up whatsoever. We started talking. I literally cried, like telling her about, I said, you've had like such a crazy journey. It just like resonates with me because like she had a serious, like that was serious. She had legal battles and all sorts of things going on. But I was like, I don't think you realize like how much you've touched like just the like random people. Like I was dealing with like motherhood and pivoting my career and like rediscovering who I even am as like a person and just like seeing you go through what you went through, this crazy thing, and you came out like on top. It's like gave me hope that like I can do it too. So we have this great conversation where I'm like fully lost in my goal of like talking and pitching myself to her. And I was telling her about how like I wear my wedding dress every anniversary and like I love all her dresses. And I was like, oh, I would love to do like a wedding dress. I've always wanted to do a wedding dress event for the industry. And she was like, "Oh my God, I've always dreamt of having like this Haley Page tea where like everybody comes in their Haley, like all my past brides come with their Haley dresses on, and it's like this like undisclosed location and this cool tea party, and everyone's just having a dance party." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like we should plan this. I should plan this for you." So we have this great discussion, and then I leave all like on cloud nine. I'm like, "Ah, I am totally planning something for her. She loves me. We are besties." And then I'm like, "Oh, you're an idiot." Like, I never gave her my email. I never asked her for her email. So I'm like,
No.
this is what I'm going to do. So I went to her website. I went to all of her social media accounts and I emailed every email that was there that night. I said, I have to do this tonight because it'll be like fresh in her brain. We just talked. She'll definitely remember me. So she did get back to me right away and added like her brand manager. And she was like, do you really think, because the original plan was October, Fashion Week during October. And she was like, "Do you really think you could plan something within like 6 weeks?" And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this. We're doing this." So I got 620 Loft and Garden to agree to sponsor like really fast. And I went back to her and I was like, "Okay, I have a space. We just have to pick a date." And she was like, "Okay, I don't think I'm ready. Like, I can't believe how quickly you got like a venue to agree." And I was like, "Girl, this is how I work. Like, you are in great hands." And she's like, can we actually push this to April of next year instead?" I said, "You know what? Fine." So like 620 was like, great. We agreed that the weather would make more sense. It's a tea party. It's going to be girly and pink. It was going to be that regardless. So April made more sense. Okay, great. So we're all good. So the last discussion we have is like late October, early November. Have a great holiday. We will reconnect in the new year. My email that I've had for 15 years crashes. I cannot send emails. I cannot receive emails. I cannot do anything. And it was probably crashing for a while, but I slowly started getting like text messages from friends in the industry. They're like, I tried emailing you this or this. And I'm getting this like, it's not a bounce back. It's just like a weird message basically saying like, I can't send you emails. So now I'm panicking because I'm like, oh my God, all the emails I've been sending Haley's team, this is probably why no one's answering me. So I go and I take all the emails and I email them from my personal email. And I'm like, they're never going to get this. This is probably going to end up in spam. This is like my personal Gmail, like michelle.oli@gmail. Like, and they're going to be like, who is this? Or I thought maybe they tried emailing me, saw this weird bounce back. They might think I'm not in business anymore. I'm like fully panicking. So I'm like, okay, Michelle, this is what we have to do. So I DM'd Haley's Instagram, her Miss Haley page, where she has a million followers. And I was like, she's probably not going to get back to me, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm pretty sure I DM'd She is Cheval and Miss Haley. I DM'd all three. And she got back to me like less than 24 hours. She was like, oh
Wow.
my God, like, I'm sorry to hear about your email, blah, blah, blah. Like, let me, like, she gave me her personal email and then, like, we got reconnected with the whole team. So now I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. Shit. So now I have to get all the vendors on board. So now this is like February and I'm just reaching out to everybody. Florida, like I already knew who I wanted for everybody. And then it just and then oh my God, yeah, from February to mid-February until April 9th, which I was like just living in a tornado. Like any of my mom friends out here in Brooklyn, oh Michelle, do you want to I'm like, I have Haley Page, like do not talk to me until April 10th. Like I could not I was
Oh
like, this is
my
it.
God.
And then I didn't even realize that it was my like first official event back until like 2 weeks out. So I had planned events for that first tech company, but I was like planning them for the company. And like the CEO was weird about it. He was like, I don't want you self promoting, even though I'm like, we're planning dinners for planners. I don't know how I'm getting business from this, but so this was like the first time where it was like, Michelle Elaine, like I'm planning something. I'm inviting people. So then I had like a whole I was like crying and like freaking out. I was like, "Oh my God." And then that's when I started 2 weeks out, I was just adding staff. I was like, "I need you. I need you. I need you. I will pay you whatever you need an hour. I don't even care. Like I have to get this." Like then I just started panicking over all the things. Like this is such a huge deal. Like why? Because I try to stay cool, calm, and collected all the time and I try to not freak out. But I like every day my husband was like, this is like like this is Haley freaking Page. Like this is like a big deal that she's just trusting you. And I'm like, oh my God, like I need different napkins. Like the Amazon deliveries and the returns, because I ordered way too like I love Amazon, but I hate them because it's too I was just ordering, just filling up a cart. I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I need this stuff, but just in case. And if I don't use it, I'll return it. Crazy. And it was
Oh my God.
successful and it went really well and everybody noticed all the details and she was super impressed and her team was super impressed. And I was like, I just because so many people were like, what was your goal of doing this? Like you did all this. And I'm like, it's for Haley to be impressed. She was my dream client who I shot my shot to. And now, like, when she's looking around, like, I need a party planned in New York or in Palm Beach or anywhere, she knows that, like, I understand her brand now. She knows what a psycho and the work that's going to come out at the other, like, she knows what the outcome is going to be. And
I
I was like,
mean,
that's it.
yeah,
I just
not
want to
only
work with
that,
her all the time.
she will like tell people like there could be other clients that
Yes.
like you obviously would I mean, either know of or don't even know of, maybe that like she would introduce you to that would be such, I mean, you built a reputation through that with her that is like so invaluable. And I think this goes back to where we started, which is like you never know who you're dealing
Yes.
with and
No.
who you're working with and who their network might be and what
Right.
opportunities they might be able to open up for you as well. And like it all comes around. Like whoever helps me, I want to help them back. Like there's just like a
Yes.
consistent kind of like pay it forward mentality if like someone's truly in your corner. Okay. Last question. You've stepped back in and back out twice now, once for tech and, in and out of kind of planning. You've weaved in and out of both of those things. You are like the perfect representation of like hard launches, and like having you on this episode is like so great because you've done so many hard launches. What is next for you and what are you thinking is going to be your next big launch?
Okay. So I'm like currently in it because I've like officially now like Haley Page was like the official relaunch of like my brand and then I'm back and doing events. So going back to like David Tutera and Robert Verdi, I was thinking because so many people are like, how are you going to get clients? How are you going to get brides? How are you going to do this? I'm like, okay, I have this wonderful couple in August. I think, I don't know what it is. I was blessed with they're the nicest people and the best. So my hope, of course, is that I'm going to crush it for them and then they'll tell all their friends about me and that will start my word of mouth again. But back to the David Chair Robert Verdi, I'm trying to like figure out how to get in touch with like a PR person or figure stuff out myself and put like gift boxes together, something that's like I fully know who my brand is now. I fully know who, I mean, I've always known who I was and what my brand was. But when you're building sometimes, and especially in events, you're just like, you have to just keep taking the clients that you're getting, you're just building. You're just trying to get a foundation. And I feel like now I'm in the driver's seat of like, I know who I am. I know who my brand is. I know who my clients are. And I basically just have like a list of people shooting my shot to and just I just want to like live my dream now of like having the Haley Page client. Like she was my dream client and I got to do it and like was so proud of it. And now I'm like, listen, I know 100 people are gonna say no to me. Like just because she said yes, I'm gonna have to because there were other people I tried to shoot my shot to and they were like people who don't even respond, which is fine. It's fine. It is what it is. But like I can't I you're just never gonna know unless you give it a try. And I think like the other biggest lesson that I learned, and this is from like a mom point of view, because we all have guilt and we all like hate when we have to miss out on things. So like those final weeks of Haley Page, like my son would be like, "Oh, mommy, like you're still working. Like, why are you still on your laptop?" Like I usually do bedtime. I usually do all the things. And I was like, Daddy has to help. Daddy has to help. And I would get like cry because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like taking time away from him.
Hmm.
Like, is this the right thing to do? Like,
Yeah.
should I just consult and, have all my time for him? But like at the same time, when I was at that first tech job, like there were so many times where I would be like at his karate and like one of his karate things and like I would just be sitting there like on a FaceTime call and I'm like miserable because I didn't even like want to work for that company anymore. And I'm like, I'm here, like I have guilt because I'm working, but I'm working on something that I'm so proud of that like I can show him. And I did show him the pictures after and he was like, "Wow, mommy's so beautiful. Wow, I'm
Oh,
so proud of
so
you, blah blah blah."
sweet.
And I'm like, this is so much more rewarding and it's going to be hard. I have to rebuild. I have like I'm not I don't have funds just like flowing in over here like it was pre-pandemic. I'm like really rebuilding, but I think that like just life is too short. And I don't know if it's from like I lost my grandma last year right before I turned 40 and like that was a whole I think that was like I think that was my moment. Sorry, I'm just like playing with my eyebrow eye brush over here. That was I think that when I was going back for saying like I don't know, I had some aha moment. That was it because my grandma was like my biggest supporter. Didn't matter what I was doing. She was just always like, "You're going to be successful. Just don't ever give up on yourself. Just never quit." She would always tell me all the stuff that she wished she would have done in life that she obviously couldn't do, and she had 4 kids and all this stuff. And losing her like right before I turned 40 because we were so close was like I don't she was in her 90s and like I'm still young, but it was like, "Oh my God, like your life is just over." Like and I would sit with her. She would tell me these stories like over and over again. "Oh, I always wanted to go to school to be a nurse and I couldn't because of this reason or that reason." And like I know it's hard and you're probably not going to have money and you're going to struggle, but like eventually you'll get back again. Like if you want to be doing events, if you want to be doing weddings, if whatever it is, creativity, styling, like just do it because I could go get a 9 to 5, not even get paid that great, and like that old tech companies went under. So like it doesn't don't like give your soul because you think that's what you have to do. Like just and I know it's hard because we need money, but
Yeah,
like I feel like you figure it out.
you
Consulting,
figure it out.
freelancing, like, I'm packing my calendar with stuff because so many people are like, "Why would you consult? Why would you freelance?" I'm like, "'Cause I have bills to pay and I have more relationships to build that will lead me to other things as I continue to rebuild my company." That was the biggest thing was like, I think it lit me back up of like, "Oh my God, Michelle, who the hell like, you know who you are. Do not keep working for this damn CEO who sucks and you know your worth and get out of here and just keep chasing your dream. And I think my grandma helped me get Haley Page. So it just
There you go. She
it's
was
all that day was
watching
so
and she
perfect.
brought it to you. Exactly. I think
So
you're so right in how you're approaching it, and I think for any mom out there that has the guilt or isn't sure if they want to make
yeah.
the leap into something brand new without stability or with a bunch of unknowns, like you're doing it actually for your kid to show your kid that like it's possible. And I think, I mean, I think about this too. I have two little ones and like I work all the time and it sucks and like,
Yeah.
you miss things, but they get to see me they get to watch me build something that I am so proud of, and that
Yeah.
will only result in more kind of accomplishments that I can point them towards. And I want them to live out their lives that way. And so I think you're setting an amazing example. And yeah, maybe you missed a few bedtimes, but like then the
Yeah.
event happens and you're proud of it and you show him, and then you get to be back on your regular routine. It's all
Yes.
temporary, like it's phases. It's not always going to be like that. And yeah, to me, like when I was in corporate, I was like, I'd rather be doing what I love and whatever the challenges are. Like when I became a mom, I was like, if I'm going to be away from my kids because I'm working, I'm going to be working on something that is like so at the core meaningful to like what I
Yes.
want to live out. Because if it's not that, then like I'm away from my kids and I'm then miserable at that place where I'm away from them from. So like, why am I even doing any of it? So
Yeah.
yes.
And it's the example, like you said, like I want him to see like the ups and downs and the challenges. And like he's only 5 years old, but like I'll tell him this is how mommy gets like her design. This is how I figure stuff out. And then like he'll try to pick stuff out for me with like flowers or different patterns. And I'm like, and then I figure this out and then I do this and then this happened. So mommy was crying because she was really frustrated. And then she did this to figure it out. And like you can get through hard stuff. And I think it like then resonates with your kid more to be like, you
Yeah.
can do it. You can get through hard things because, like, instead of just sitting at like a soul sucking job that you're miserable
Yep.
at, then you're like teaching your kid that, like, oh, it's okay to just settle in life. And it's
100%.
hard. It is hard. I have no money. Like, I'm figuring it out.
It's
It
so
is what it
hard.
is.
My kids are like sitting on the floor next to
But
me during meetings and selling Gia
yeah,
pretending to pitch. And I'm like, good. They're going to know what it means to get told no 100 times and to keep
yes,
knocking down doors and keep on doing
yes,
whatever you need to do to get that 101 yes. So
yes.
I couldn't agree more. I think you're
Don't
setting an
give
amazing
up.
example for your kid. But
Yes.
it was so great to have you, Michelle. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
doing this. I love that we got
Oh,
to chat. Your story is so inspiring. I can't wait to share it with our audience, and thank you for coming on.
thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I could just chat all
I
day,
know.
but we
I
know
feel like I
I'm
could just keep
long-winded
going.
and I talk too much, but it's okay.